Hi, thanks for tuning in to my official channel. Make sure to follow me on social media. Go to my website, www.susanmeeling.com. Today is the 16th of April, 2021. And I am at the Friday Harbor area in Rosh Harbor because of the San Juan Islands arrangement at the Afterglow Mausoleum. I'm going to do a few different videos in reference to this. However, the lore is that nobody can sit in any of these seats behind me for longer than 3 or 5 minutes. I've been here before. I've sat in each of these chairs for far longer than 3 or 5 minutes. So in this official video, please make sure to subscribe and share. I'm actually going to place that camera in front of where I am sitting, so that way you can see, not just in regards to the time, but you can also see from that particular angle. So there was another chair right here. However, wrongly, because of certain vandalism issues, one of the particular chairs have been removed. So as you can see, I have no problem standing here or in the vicinity of what actually would have been the chair without any problems. Now, I highly recommend against not, in regards to, if you do not have the training nor the understanding, I highly recommend against going and just randomly doing certain things when it comes to different areas, such as mausoleums where I'm at, or any particular sacred sort of space. You need to know certain things before stepping forward into that, because there are problems that can arise if you are untrained. So I have quite a bit of training. To begin with some of my training, my great-grandparents did a lot of spiritual teachings in regards to me. Same thing with and that's on my paternal side. On my maternal side, I have additional training. My maternal adopted grandfather had certain information I learned through him. And through my maternal grandmother, I was informed that she had been a part of the Rosicrucians and had known a few individuals over the years of her life. Me, being myself, I had studied quite a bit through all of them, including in conjunction with going through confirmation class at Old Tenet Presbyterian Church in Tenet, New Jersey. I had not only been raised by a deacon and a trustee of that church, but I also had gone through other studies, not just Sunday school. And then later, I dove into, pun intended with that scuba diving reality, I had dove into further research and further studies. And so I have actually been going through various religious and spiritual studies since a very, very young age, well before I was ever in the double digits after my birth. So I've got additional training after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. I have not only gone through classes, but I've also read quite a bit, and again had been taught in person well before ever looking at things online in regards of different spiritual studies. You see that honeybee that came up? So I don't know if the lighting has changed or some of the different views as the recording has gone on thus far, but I'm sure that there is quite a bit to see. The first time I was out here, I had taken a walk around, took a look at a few things, sat in the chairs without any problem. On my way outward, there was an older male with 2 children. He said they were his grandchildren, and it was a male and a female. And I had still been skeptical at the time, and I didn't believe that I could be the only person who could sit in these chairs, stand where I'm standing without any problems, feel perfectly comfortable. From what I had read, from what I had seen, I was told, as far as whether it was through internet or some other way, that not just anybody can handle certain things, which I already knew. However, in regards to the afterglow, yeah, that's definitely something. I suppose there's something behind that. I'll let you question that. Nonetheless, when I asked the children, would you sit in any of the chairs, the male of the children got closer to his grandfather and said, no, thank you. And, said, that's okay for you to sit in those chairs. And he held on to his grandfather. And he looked up at his grandfather and he's like, oh my God, really? And then the little girl looked over at the area and she looked back up at me and said, you are allowed to, you are able to, but not just anybody can. Oh, the things children can say at times, right? So during that particular experience, there also had been some sounds. So the water is nearby, being on an island. And there, when I sat in that chair right there, there was these sounds coming out of the water. It was like horse hooves mixed with barking, mixed with other sounds that I hadn't heard before. And I just stayed still. I didn't move. I watched things go on, and I finished up my time and then went on my way. And that was when that discussion occurred. The other time that I had been back, I had essentially gone around and looked at a few things again because I couldn't believe it. I don't deny. I have my own skepticism, despite quite a few things that I have studied and been trained in, including historical and spiritual rubbings. So that particular set of work took between a little over 10, shy of 12 years to learn certain things as being taught. So without further ado, shall we? So I, being myself, and the fact that there is the reality of certain helpful aspects for me personally, because of being in an area with such a high amount of electronics and electricity. So this is Dorothy McMillan's chair. I'm going to start off there and give a quick little view. So you can see. Then I'll give you an upward view. So this particular broadcast or official video will be done in a very different way. So I am obviously, so that way you can actually see, I mean obviously, but here you can see I'm sitting in the chair. And so you can hear the geese talking, right? So I'm gonna just get a few things taken care of while sitting in the chair, no problem. I'm gonna get something out of my bag so that way I can be taking care of certain things as needed, such as now. I could go over what I personally pick up at this point in time, but that is for another time, for a discussion, I suppose, as far as talking to the camera and then those who eventually will hopefully subscribe and pay attention to. So, because I don't know how much research has been done in various aspects beyond what I've done. I know that there are plenty who have. I don't know specifically who. I've seen quite a few groups and whatnot that have taken interest into a few different archaeological sites and various studies over the years. As you can see in the trees behind me, it does lead to the ocean. So this is actually quite a comfortable chair. It's kind of funny because the name Dorothy, right? I had actually I got in trouble for seeing this movie actually, because apparently it was above a certain rating when I was a child. And my biological parents, they weren't okay with that. Anything above a G rating, I had to get permission according to them. And so I didn't see my first PG-13 movie until I was over 13 years old. And so sometimes I just miss the warmth of the flame. I would like to turn the camera around so that way you could actually see the view that I see, but I can't, because then you wouldn't believe that I had been sitting in the chair as long as I had. And I want to show proof without any doubt that I'm sitting in the chair longer than 5 minutes when it gets to that point. So I just realized it's at 13 minutes and 54 seconds. I have a few minutes from when I initially sat down. However, it is a beautiful day. And the drive to the ferry was quite beautiful. A lot to process, though. Quite a bit to process during this particular trip. It is though I'm in Washington State, it is the first time that I have seen the city of New York skyline during this particular trip at this point. And I had not seen that skyline since 1998. And so, since the events of 11 September 2001, it had been 3 years since I had seen that skyline by the time the events occurred. However, this is 2021. It's been more than 3 years. So, you know, I've been processing that. That's kind of, I really don't have the words. It's very difficult because I had my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And I've remembered some people, and I've been chastised for not remembering others or not remembering names. I was in a coma, and I did have a subarachnoid hemorrhage in the frontal lobe of my brain. I deal with headaches and migraines. I have memory deficits and cognitive disorders. I went from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to 2nd grade math. And I was chastised for not remembering people's names. And, I don't know, when you go from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to 2nd grade math, I mean, is that not enough of a sign? However, I don't know what you were doing that day, as far as whoever might watch and listen to this, or speak with, or what have you. That particular day, I was recovering from delivering my son. I had been out of the coma for just a little over a year. I don't think it was a year and a half yet. And I already had had visions or dreams, or, well, it was really a nightmare when a child seeing that and doing what I could to explain that. I mean, the irony is now, in 2021 and quite a bit since certain times after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, I had done what I could to explain. And it felt, looking back now in 2021, looking back now, as I have pieced certain things together, after my head injury in 2021, compared to before my head injury in 2020, or 2000, sorry. It almost seems similar. It was almost repetitive. Almost. Explaining my nightmare compared to explaining certain things to various people that didn't necessarily understand or want to. And yet it would impact them. And it would impact more. And it was one of those, why are you not paying attention and listening to me? And I'm not attention seeking. I mean, especially when you take into consideration what some individuals will do for attention. And then they don't even know how to distinguish between good attention and bad attention, which is one of those, are you kidding me? It's very easy to distinguish between the two. How do you not know the difference between good attention and bad attention? You don't want bad attention. I mean, you can be into certain adult lifestyle things and what have you. You can do whatever as far as consenting adults. However, certain things I have seen and warned against, so that way it was in a protective measure. And of course, make your own decisions wisely using as much common sense as you might have. But please, I know that people are far better than that. And so I haven't understood how adults, biologically, are not able to tell the difference at times. Good attention is so much better in the short term and long term than bad attention. Because every piece of your life affects so much more than just your immediate circumstances. So on the day of 9/11 in 2001, I saw my nightmare come to life. And I jumped into action. It did not matter that I was fighting an infection from being in labor for longer than 7 days while taking care of my, at that point in time, 9-day-old son. And it's funny because I made sure to research which name I was going to give to my 2 children, because I only wanted 2, I got 2. Very, very adamant about that. And I ran to the nearest guy that I knew who had specific connections that I knew would be pertinent for assisting the military and the civilian sector alike. Because I remembered from when I grew up in New Jersey about the 1993 attack against the World Trade Center. I knew about what people were doing in different sectors and areas because of who I knew and the areas I grew up going to. So in New Jersey, my biological father had business where he would drive all the way around. And then same thing in regards to the 5 boroughs in New York City, far beyond that as well. I mean, into Pennsylvania, both Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, but he also did business with the individuals in Lancaster. And he had business wherever he had business. However, up and down the East Coast, all the way out to the equivalent of the Indiana and Ohio border of the United States of America, he was the only individual who was certified by the School of Bolivar to be able to work on all of that, as well as certified gemstones. He had a specific specialty set that only he had. And if he worked on your jewelry, You never had to worry about any problems after that. It was fixed perfectly. And unless you seriously did something to purposefully cause problems to it, you wouldn't have any issues. That is how I grew up. And so, to a point in regards to the day of 9/11, which leads to this, as I grew up, I was raised with such a meticulous individual such as that. And my biological mother did coding for information technology. And anybody now in 2021 get into technology and know some stuff? How many times do you have to enter your password or however to get into your techie device? How many times? A little CDO much? And that is technically OCD, but alphabetized. I was born in the Virgo. I had to alphabetize that because that just annoyed me so much. And that shows you how I grew up. That's how everything had to be like, couldn't, you know, I mean, I could get 107 on a test, but because I could have earned 110, that 3-point difference, my biological father told me I failed. And then blamed it on me being a female. On top of that, I didn't really have a choice which body I was born into. Excuse me. Nor did you. You make do with what you got. I'm just saying. As best as possible. So, you know, when it came to that coming to reality, I didn't have anything or, you know, partially do. It was, I did. I ran to who I knew, and thankfully he took me seriously. And I know at first he was skeptical, kind of similarly to where I'm at, and I haven't moved. And it's 27 minutes and 54 seconds now. And so, hello? Just letting you have a bit of time to do the math for the amount of time that I've been sitting in this chair. It's been longer than 3 to 5 minutes, correct? As I make my way around the table, I will continue that. So, shall we? It is a beautiful area, is it not? So, that was Dorothy MeeLing from, she was born the 19th of January in 1894 up until May 19th, 1980. That's interesting. So this is John Hyatt McMillan, 16 July 1878 to 16 July 1878. And there's an A. See? A. It's even kind of similar how I draw A's. When, you know, doing the calligraphy thing. So, hi. Okay. Going back to that Oh, let me do it quickly. See? Look, it's so pretty. So pretty. So 3 to 5 minutes, right? Now, when I ran to the individual that I knew from being in the apartment complex, I told him what I remembered. And I told him if he needed to ask me anything, he could. So that way I could help and make sure things got better, because I'd already told him about how I had my head injury. I had told him about how I had fought to be emancipated, so that way I could be able to be in the armed forces for the United States of America. I had told him why I wasn't doing certain things and why I was. And so he was explained to very, very early on. And so when it came to that particular day, I think that apartment lease had began probably 2 or 3 months before the 11th of September 2001. So he had also been able to verify, because I would go to Lackland Air Force Base for my medical treatments at that time. And so apparently I don't camo. And that, I mean, now especially, but back in 2001, my hairstyle wasn't this. It wasn't this hair color. I didn't have the tattoos yet. So, and I'm wearing makeup, and I have these nails. And so, like, I was younger back then, and I didn't have my hairstyle as it is, and the hair color, and the tattoos. And I've explained this to people. I've written about this. My tattoos, yes, they are to assist my memory. They're also spiritual, because of each individual tattoo's meaning and purpose. And the fact that I meditate during a tattoo, because it is it has been known to me from the time of my first tattoo that when I got it, there was a lot of things that were occurring. And I knew that with certain focus that I can do and energetic aspects, that there are impacts that I can make. It's an energetic thing that I've seen long before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And some birds are playing. And so I didn't really have any hesitation to get that taken care of. And as time went on, life went on. And when the fact is, in 2020 is the first time I've seen the skyline of New York since shortly before I started fighting to be emancipated, because I thought I could just graduate high school early and go to the recruiter station and be like, yeah, let's go. Let me do this because I know I need to. Let's go. Come on. I know it's important. So, let's go. And then, the not graduating at 16 as I had planned. But I did graduate at 17 and still had to wait. So it's actually better that that time thing worked out that way instead. And so, but yeah, that day, I had done the best I could. I made suggestions to some females as far as if there was ever an emergency, make sure to, if you can't help from right where you're at, because we were in Texas at the time, and obviously the events of 9/11 in 2001, or the 11th of September 2001. I was in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and a field in Pennsylvania. However, I don't know if many really truly realized how many were actually impacted beyond just that, and then the immediate after effects. I think most people paid attention to the actual plane situations, but then the towers falling and the Pentagon being hit. But I don't think people paid as much attention or thought about it maybe at that time as to the bigger impact of that. And so with my tattoos, I knew that from the portions of what I remembered being helpful, despite being yelled at and complained to about not remembering individual people. That particular day, I just gave some suggestions from what I recalled. And the people that I knew when I was growing up, I mean, now I think everybody's retired and stuff as far as adults and whatnot. I was the first baby of the church for like 10, 20 years. The church was in decline. Which is irony when you look at the current point in time of April 2021 and how few have believed in divinity. I mean, there are those who still do. There are those who kind of, tiptoe around the situation. No, it's real. Because as, 38 minutes and 27 seconds of sitting in this chair. And I could, with the 2 chairs I've sat in so far, I could almost put my feet up. It's relaxing out here. It's very interesting. The energy is very interesting, and it's really good because the last time I was here, there was some sounds. I got creeped out, and you see where I'm at. So, ready? Gonna move to the next chair. Because, and breaking that skepticism, huh? So this is Luella Hyatt McMillan, the wife of John S. McMillan. April 5th, 1857 to the 1st of August, 1943. So I'm going to talk about something a little different once I finish up this point, okay? Oh, here's a different angle. And I don't know what the big fuss is about. But I'm also respectful, so, and I've also done, so I'll get to that. Actually, that is the next point before going into the skyline portion. So, after a bunch of life circumstances, there was a point where I had gotten involved with scuba diving because I read a Jewish medical journal that had discussed benefits of scuba diving to headaches and migraines. And it was one of those, really? Let me see what else I could find. And I found several others. There was a UK journal or United Kingdom medical journal, and a couple others that had proven that was helpful. So I contacted via the email asking if there was something I should look into, be concerned into, because of my head injury. And I had told them, a brief backdrop to it. And I took it very seriously. Where I grew up in New Jersey, there was summer camp each year. And we would go to the beach. Usually it was Point Pleasant Beach, but we'd also go to Seaside or Seaside Heights and Seaside Waterworks. And with my biological father's work and stuff like that, he did stuff all over and knew people, like deans of universities and what are the maintenance crew guys he'd work along with, because he liked to garden. And we had lived on a property that at one point in time was an orchard, and there was an Olympic swimming pool that was in the backyard, in ground. However, it similarly to the column that I'm looking at currently, there had been a broken piece in the pool. And those who have had in-ground pools understand it is difficult. It is important, it is worth it, but it is difficult to fix a broken in-ground pool. It's also expensive. However, it is worth it, because when you fix that, it is ideally taken care of for, quite a long amount of time. As a side note, I did vote for the current president, or I apologize, according to the election results. However, I voted for President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, and Vice President of the United States of America, Mike Pence, in 2016, as well as 2020. Currently, there is a dispute in regards to election integrity. And since the 1980s, there had been a point where the ethics review had been put to a halt for the Republican Party of the United States' political system. And in that gets to a different point. If you look at the Georgia Guidestones in Ellington, Georgia, the date is 1980 that it was put into place. On average, I would guess it'd take 5 years or so, 3 to 5 years maybe, depending on what bigger type of monument piece you were looking at doing. And similarly to where I'm at, the Afterglow McMillan Mausoleum. The timing of the 1980s and the election integrity situation being put on halt for Republicans only. I wonder, because of how long it takes to dismember a government group. I don't know how, those who know about retiring bases time, which they're never retired, they're in case of a national emergency. Like if there is enough of a situation that it requires a legitimate situation, look at when Hurricane Katrina occurred. That activated the National Guard unit, or units. In various situations, when there is a national emergency, the National Guard are the first ones that are put out there, because that's in their name. They're literally called the National Guard. Is it because you usually hear only the shortened version instead of the United States of America, state of whichever state they're in, National Guard unit? Is it because it was shortened to just National Guard? Because you gotta add the branch to that length of name of, of the United States of America's Armed Forces, and then enter the branch name. Like, is it because you didn't get the whole set of details that the National Guard, you were just like, what? Yeah, no, they're the first ones out there, when things go awry. Yeah, that's kind of their job. Yeah, that's what they do. Reservists are the ones who are activated when in reference to overseas, and or if the National Guard needs backup. The United States of America's Armed Forces branch of, with the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marine Corps, Navy, and then the Space Force now, right? But like individually. Ooh, that's just funny to me, because like I never really thought people needed that explanation. What do you think happened when there are national or even local emergencies? The National Guard is usually activated. Duh. I mean, it just makes sense to me. I didn't think anybody needed an explanation on that. So, there's this stuff in the state of Texas, and there's also the stolen valor problem, right? Yeah, because there's Military City, USA. I highly recommend the Supreme Court of the United States of America reevaluate that because of the problems that could cause as far as stolen valor is concerned. There are signs around the city of San Antonio that say Military City, USA. What is the history on that? I mean, I kind of figured, you got 5 bases, duh. However, I had dealt with some people who said that they stole valor going to that ethics and integrity situation for the elections and the dismantling of the ethics review in the state of New Jersey, no less. Irony of ironies. So, in the state of New Jersey, it was 1980 something. It was the early 1980s, and the Georgia Guidestones. Maybe that's that 500,000 million whatever number on the stones is that many election integrity issues. And then now, like, the political climate needs to be reviewed is pretty much the point of that. Because if you really think about it, how many situations have to occur before a regulation is put into place to do things better? Realistically. I mean, how many times? Certain things, it shouldn't take that much. Although it would be irony, percentage difference wise in regards to scuba diving at the Vandenberg. So I had earned 26 scuba diving certifications. Part of my nightmare that I had not been able to express to people was what I had seen in the water. Growing up in New Jersey, having gone to the beach a bunch of times, I'm a very strong swimmer, is one way to put it. I mean, I did survive apparently a few abortion attempts from my biological mother. Like, I'm just saying, I was informed that she had tried different ways and, was a little upset that I survived. So, I'm a strong swimmer. In the ocean, too. Lake, water, whatever. I'm a strong swimmer. Get it? I get a double entendre. So, I wish that there were like living people here. So leave a comment on that, please. Let me know if you... I am how I am. Sometimes I'm a little twisted, I don't deny it. So, adding to this head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000 after effects, to the point where I have to get tattoos to be able to remember stuff, I get into scuba diving, where you wear a wetsuit. However, unlike on land, scuba diving was second nature to me. It was natural. Scuba divers that I went scuba diving with joked and, you know, oh, ha ha, look at how little air you use. Like, what are you, a mermaid? Or what are you, a fish? Or what are you? And it's like, ha 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 ha, ha, funny joke. I'm gonna light a cigarette now. Well, this is an e-cigarette, but that was an actual. So hold on. So I could do this. They'd make their joke, and then I'd be like, yeah, ha ha. Yeah, what a funny joke. That's And so when growing up, I had seen and spent time with mer people. They do exist. I'd swim out to the buoys and back. That's how good of a swimmer. When I went to sleepaway camp, to be able to swim in the deep end, you had to pass a series of tests. And I got bored very quickly, because my first time of ever being in any type of body of water other than a bathtub was the ocean. I started swimming in the ocean before I ever went into a pool by a couple of years. Anybody in New Jersey go to the coast during the summertime at any point? Anywhere? Anybody go to like Boca from the Northeast coast ever? Only a couple? One or two? I mean, it's actually called Boca Raton, but yeah, or Homestead, or just saying. I know there are some. I know you know. I know there are. I know there are. Isn't it funny? It's only supposed to be 3 to 5 minutes. It's 58 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm just saying. Interesting about my hair color, right? And so, in regards of scuba diving, I had put myself through 26 different certifications. It did help my headaches, but because of knowing I couldn't see my tattoos, knowing, not like Washington State where I didn't know that I wouldn't be able to see my tattoos. I'm very glad about those. But still very cold, so cold. But with scuba diving, I was prepared for that, thankfully, when thinking about getting back to the state of Texas. I knew. Because it gets cold. But I didn't have the words. I told people I couldn't be above the Mason-Dixon line without certain issues. Didn't realize some of those issues were going to be electrocuted. Just saying. I called it zapping because that was what I heard. That was the only thing I could like give in that regard. It hurts so bad. It's still, at this point, it's one of those like, compared to compared to what I dealt with, I mean, it's still owie, but I don't know what that sound was. So seriously, there it is. Really? Usually starting is not a situation for me, nonetheless. So, and finishing. I do tend to finish. So, I make sure of it. And so, as I went through scuba diving, I could not explain to people that portion of my nightmare. There was one summer, I can't remember which one it was. There was one summer where we did not go to the beach the same week that we had before. In the years prior to me going out swimming. And I hadn't gone out with any of the guys that I knew back then. Because, there are those who know what it's like to have to babysit somebody's child unexpectedly to a degree, right? If you have not, hi. No. Nonetheless, the scuba diving I needed to do because I had something that reminded me. That Jewish medical journal had reminded me of that part of my nightmare that I had not discussed with anybody. And I knew I couldn't tell anybody. I was going to go handle stuff. All I could say is that I was going to go handle stuff. I knew what I needed to do. And I know there are those who don't necessarily believe that there are mer people and what I call Cthulhus. They are so cute. However, yeah, that exists. Same thing with extraterrestrials. I've told people, I don't know how you could think that human beings are the only species in the universe that's intelligent. And they had said that they thought that human beings were the most intelligent. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? You're the shining example. Oh. Oh, no. What are you getting? wow, okay. Um, Nothing else of interest? Anything, like, no, that's what you're gonna pay for that? Oh, yes, you are. Okay, fine, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, you're a privilege. Okay, cool, yeah, awesome. Do you really think, oh wow, you really think you're the most intelligent in the universe? You don't even want to be like in the galaxy that you're in? And then they looked at me like I was weird. And I'm like, why are you looking at me like I'm weird? And they said, well, how could you believe that there are species that human beings don't know about? And I looked at them, I was like, do you know what's in the ocean? Do you know what's in there? Do you know what's in a lake? Do you know what's in a cavern? Like under the water? Do you know any of that? Do you understand? Like, you have not even explored a full 10% of the water in the ocean. You're still finding underwater caverns and caves. Really? Oh, okay. I don't think so. So I'm gonna move to the next chair at an hour, 7 minutes, and 30 seconds. As it switched from 29. Interesting, huh? So this is John Stafford McMillan, A or Alpha, B Bravo, A Alpha. A 32nd Mason, Knight Templar, Noble of Mystic Shrine, Greek lettering, I think that's E and X, Methodist Republican, October 28th, 1855 to November 3rd, 1936. I do not see a hooked X from what I had, whatchamacallit, seen on one of those videos. Oh, here's the view. So, ooh, it's chilly. It is beautiful out here. So, as a quick side note, it's really funny. My first Halloween costume, I was Snow White. And all the birds. Come on, that's funny. Come on. So, that was my cell phone for the thingamabob of the whatchamacallit. So scuba diving and in regards to there are certain parts where there is the nightmare, and then there's the dream. And, how the vision, however, would come as my childhood and teenage years had been. The after effects of 9/11 and stuff. And so I had pieced things together, and I did what I could to explain things as best as possible. However, as a child, I could only draw eyes. And some of the eyes that I drew as a child and teenager were eyes that I had seen. Not just in regards of, people I knew, but in regards of what I had seen. So, like those eyes that I have doodled all these different years, I have seen. And so, like, I knew a few people, I had asked them if I could draw their eye, or eyes, both of them, but I usually would only get one by the time, whatever. And they'd look and they'd actually take it to the, a mirror or whatever, and they just were amazed that I drew their eye to that amount of detail. And the eyes are a key to the soul. And you can see so much in the eyes when you look at people, and you truly care when you're listening. You have 2 ears that you are born with, usually. 2 eyes that you're born with, usually. And 1 mouth. You need to look twice as much and listen twice as much as you speak. So that way you can learn. And even with certain things that have occurred as far as different situations, whether it be accidental or it be whatever occurred, through the advancements of science and technology, because there are certain after effects at times. There is a lot of positive benefits that come from the development, but it does take practice at times before finding perfect. And it is called a medical practice. I'm just saying. It is. So, when it comes to the scuba diving, I basically took it very seriously because I knew I was not going to be able to see any of my tattoos, and I have leg tattoos. They're in specific locations. It's kind of funny with the column behind me, because of my legs. And so there are different types of architecture around the world, and spirals in certain regards, or garlands, however you want to put it, as far as few things. And metaphors, symbols, and whatnot. I wouldn't see them. And I needed to make sure I knew my scuba diving gear. Because I realized that was the only way I was going to get to what I had seen. That just one week that I didn't show up, and the mer people were very protective of me as a child when I'd go out swimming. And in 1998, however you want to view certain things, in 1998, I was moved to Illinois. With my biological parents and biological sister. And then I had my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And I was in Texas. I had been in a coma for a while. And I had a subarachnoid hemorrhage in the frontal lobe of my brain. And I went from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math. And I have memory deficits and cognitive disorders, and I deal with headaches and migraines. And I had no way to let them know. I have seen spirits over the years. I can tell the difference. And I'll get to that point in a moment in regards to a prior one for this official video. So, there are such things as Cthulhus. I took a picture of one when I went scuba diving at the Vandenberg. I told people I needed to know my scuba diving gear. I was made fun of because of how many knives I had. They thought that I was overindulging. And why would you? I don't even know. Nonetheless, I knew what I needed to do. I knew it was better for me to have more ammunition if I needed, because there was no backup. It was just me. And so I told people in the scuba diving community I was going to go to the Vandenberg. I told people that I would land at the bottom of wherever I went scuba diving to pee at the bottom of the ocean, because I could say I did it. There's not many people who could say they did that every single time. And anybody who's oh, I don't pee in my wet, no, you do. Don't lie, because if you can't tell that truth, no, that's simple. I'm just saying. There are scuba dives that last how long in the water, and you have to take a boat out to go where? Oh, okay. Yeah, you peed in your wetsuit. I'm just saying. Nonetheless, took my son, my daughter, and my niece out for the first and only family vacation that was able to be had. Spent a little bit of time in Georgia. Irony of Georgia Guidestones, right? And so then spent time in Boca Raton. Had the whole trip planned and organized before going out there with contingencies. Including, getting back to shore safely. For the dolphin excursion that I took them on after booking it. And, that situation I wrote about. Just stopping the hurricane, making it go. No, it's okay. Irony about being in Washington state of my own free will right now. Nonetheless, I went to the bottom of the ocean at the Vandenberg. After my scuba dive buddy did not descend anywhere near where I was at the bottom of the ocean, because the Bermuda Triangle is a multi-dimensional area because of the energetic ley lines. That is why certain things have occurred. And so the depth measurements are not necessarily the most mathematically capable thing to explain. Similarly to the fact that I've been sitting in this chair, it is now 1 hour 23 minutes 7 seconds. And so it's a little cold. But I'm in Washington State in April. It's cold. Yesterday it was 37 or 39 degrees where I was at. So it's cold. It's so cold. I'm 5'4". I have a long sleeve shirt on and a vest and this jacket, this one. But hey, compared to what I would wear from 2013 to 2019, early-ish, this isn't so much, huh? It's not as heavy. So, nonetheless, just saying, there's some stuff in the bottom of the ocean, and you want to do space travel? What? And then being told that there are people who think that they're the smartest species in the universe. Let me tell you. No! On Earth! Or in some regards, it's a combination thing. There are there are certain realities in regards to extraterrestrials. Now, I don't know what pop culture stuff. However, yes, they do exist. Just as I could not discuss that I needed to go to the bottom of the ocean to handle some things, I took pictures. Because I had to. It was, for me, the scuba diving, yeah, it was to take pictures because it was pretty and whatnot. But then there were also pictures that I took in regards to, there is an albino eel that I used a C Pro camera that was 16 megapixels. And I didn't know how to program it. That's why I got the underwater camera, because I couldn't figure out the mode stuff like for other, I'll get it. No, I have to, I'm that CDO. This is the way I have to do it. I don't care. I know me. It is not being snobby. I just know me. That's it. I know how I have to do certain things for the best possible outcome because of the after effects of my head injury. And so comparatively, the jackets and my memory issues, nonetheless, in my scuba diving pictures, one of them is of the floor of the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico area of the ocean. That albino eel. It is unfiltered or whatever. I didn't do anything to the pictures before posting them initially back then. You can tell by the lack of color in that regard. Almost similar to a grayscale tattoo, right? Ooh, metaphor! Metaphor! Ooh! Come on, that's funny. Nonetheless, I told people I was going to go handle things. So I did. And there was a guy I was dating at the time. He had no idea. He knew that I was going. He had no idea I was going to go handle things. Nobody did. There was one guy who had believed me when I told him I was going to go land at the bottom of the ocean and pee at the bottom of the ocean. And he was just like, really? I'm going to the Eriskany. Yeah, when you do whatever, it is what it is. I'm going to the Vandenberg. And I did. Took the pictures too. And you know, there is a picture of a yellow tentacle. You can see I mean, there is a point where there's a picture where I'm very close to the American flag. Okay? So in scuba diving, when you go deeper in the ocean, you start having the color differences, apparently, with the cameras. And so this color you could not tell, was in the American flag in the picture that I took. Okay, all the way to the blue. So like, you see this blue? You couldn't tell the difference in the picture that I took of the blue. No, you could see the blue in the white. Okay, like that's how deep in the ocean I was. And yet, that's also how close that tentacle was. That you could see the yellow. So look at the colors of the rainbow. So there's red, there's white, and then there's red. Couldn't see the red in the picture. Orange, okay, yellow, green, blue, violet, purple, brown, and black. Okay? You could not tell in the picture that I took when I was at the Vandenberg with the words. You couldn't tell it was black. Could you? I'm just gonna throw that out. Like, I'm just saying. Could you see that it was the color black? Oh, or did it just look like a darker blue-ish because of the color of the ocean? I'm just saying. I took the pictures. You may not have the ability to go see a Navy boat. Is there a boat anywhere that you could look at to be like, could that even have been put on the Titanic? You have to have spare boats for a Navy boat too. I'm just saying, like, how has nobody, been like, hey, can we talk about stuff? I'm just saying, seriously? Seriously. I feel that comfortable here. At 1 hour, 34 minutes and 49 seconds. Just saying. And this is being recorded in one shot, by the way. There's the song. Fred Hyatt McMillan, a 32nd Mason, Knight Templar, Noble of Mystic Shrine and Elk, the Greek lettering E, I think it is, A, E, or Echo, Alpha Echo, which is irony in regards to my middle name. Methodist, Republican, September 16th, 1880 through September 23rd, 1922. So that election integrity stuff, right? So, but going back, look, it's so pretty. Ooh, it's cold. So, Georgia Guidestones, remember? Election integrity, 1980s, being removed from the Republicans. Isn't that irony? Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. And the wind just kicked up. So, this place is a national treasury, right? What does that mean? Irony. Nonetheless. It is beautiful out here, isn't it? So, I handled the situation as far as scuba diving. Some people didn't necessarily understand it. I did tell my son, my daughter, and my niece, though they were children, so obviously they didn't know the depth levels and stuff. And when I got back, I had ironically been dating a scuba instructor at the time. I didn't know it he was at a different shop, so, not the same. Just saying. Those who have gone to college, you understand that. But for scuba diving, okay? And so, or high school, or football team, like something. Pick something, Those who were into competition, come on now, whatever. So, it is really pretty. So, it wasn't very well received when I told them, meaning the scuba divers I knew and the male I was dating at the time. And just from that, I knew I couldn't tell many people because if scuba divers didn't believe me with pictures, what more could... What did I have to prove? Realistically, I already did. I took the pictures. So, you know, duh. However, it's a good thing that I did do the scuba diving, because after winding up in Washington State, after that Cowboys dance hall thing, which, you know, I had dealt with all sorts of stuff in different areas. And because of my hair color and hairstyle and, you know, tattoos, and in the state of Texas, so my first tattoo was visible if I wore capris in 2006 or 2007. I have several pieces. I didn't do it all at once. And I realized that when I could see him, because of, you know, crossing my legs, it would assist my memory. I didn't really want them visible because I didn't want the stereotype, because of already having been stereotyped because of my hairstyle and my hair color. And, you know, there are many reasons as to why my hair color and my hairstyle is as it is. I deal with headaches and migraines. Long hair does not work for that. The color, I mean, you know, there's many reasons to the color red. And because of the energetic healing stuff that I do, isn't it irony to hear a goose right there? I didn't really go much into it because I didn't know who to ask, and I didn't remember that I had gone to a Marine and Science Technology school with a Naval Academy attachment as a memory yet. And so I didn't understand. Like, I knew I did it, but the cognitive situation. And so I don't know. Told people about the anglerfish, apparently, is what it's called. I told you. And so, you know, I told people. It is what it is. But I did take the picture, so you can look that stuff up and, you know, see that and then the whole thing in regards to, there have been research projects in the government of the United States of America and other governments, and there is the reality of the Big Blue Book. or I guess it's actually called Project Blue Book, which I got to read a big blue book. I'm not certain if it's I'm not certain if it is the Project Blue Book, but I know it was a big blue book. It was well, finding the silver lining that I wrote, the print book. It's different than the digital because you can't see the size. That's about the size. Like any of the books that I have written in regards to finding a silver lining by Susan MeeLing, Finding the Silver Lining by Susan MeeLing, The Modern Day Book by Reverend Susan MeeLing, The Adventures of Susan MeeLing, Scuba Diver Extraordinaire, Reverend Susan MeeLing, or Reverend MeeLing, whichever one. The different volumes of the sizes of those books is the size of the big blue book that I got to read in full in 2006 or 2007 when I was a volunteer at 9 Lives Bookstore in San Antonio, Texas, doing online sales listings, and I had to describe the condition of the books that were most expensive, kind of like jewelry. Can anybody please let me know in the comments about 1 hour 48 minutes and 20 seconds into the yeah. So while dealing with the breakup, essentially, at that point in 2009, after I got back from that scuba dive and not having anybody to discuss what happened with at the time. This is 2021 in April. Again, I'm at the Afterglow Mausoleum in the San Juan Islands in Roche Harbor after taking the ferry to Friday Harbor. After seeing the skyline for the first time in New Jersey. Well, technically in New York City, driving through for the first time, as well as seeing the actual skyline from New Jersey, as well as from Syracuse down to New Jersey. And in a short amount of time, admittedly, but because of the different aspects but actually driving through the city because of how you have to. Because my maternal grandmother and adopted maternal grandfather lived in New York State. So the majority of times, kind of similar to the trip between December 2020 to currently in April 2021, is the first time of ever seeing that full kaleidoscope of views. And similar to the texture of the stone, just as the individuality of each individual person makes this stone table. As does each aspect of how you choose to continue your existence in life. And that whole thing. Good choices, right? Positive attention is better. Good attention is better than negative attention or bad attention. Just throwing that out there. Especially with the advancements of modern technology and long-term after effects, not just short-term. And in regards to the realities of studies that I've done over the years and training I've gone through, the aspects of my Medal of Honor art project and that whole thing, historical and spiritual rubbings, and that whole reality, and then, well, the ones who thought that human beings are the smartest in the universe. I mean, by technicalities, I guess, because you got me, right? I'm joking. I'm kidding. It's okay. And as long as I'm okay, it's all good. And well, in a good way, not a female. But I am a female. But you know what I mean. Happy life, right? Or whatever. But I'm not married, so I'm a legal widow, but whatever. Anyway, I was in a different part of the city and I hadn't seen him. And we were on amicable terms, despite the fact that if you find out, like, the levels of what I dealt with and survived, I'm alive, obviously. I mean, right now. I mean, I'm obviously alive. I'm technically immortal, I guess, because, that whole thing. Because, landing at the bottom of the ocean, the Bermuda Triangle where the Vandenberg was sunk, in the Matthias Abyss, which is beneath the Hatteras Abyss in the ocean. And again, the yellow tentacle and the colors that you couldn't see in the pictures. I'm just saying, like, look up underwater photography. So, there's stuff in the ocean, and you don't know that much about that, and you want to go and say, I mean, you know, then there's the Big Blue Book, and I don't know if I got to read apparently the original copy. Unredacted. Irony. I went into the Army and my job was supposed to be an automated logistical specialist. If I had graduated basic training and gone to AIT, in the Army branch of the Armed Forces, with the clearance of Omega 91 or 92 Alpha. Irony, right? In lighting. Nonetheless, I'm glad my nightmare was not as bad. And there are ways to fix and repair for the short and long term and longest term possible. So to reinstate the ethics and integrity, there are those who have known that there are extraterrestrials, as they are called, or what have you. And there have been signs all throughout to give as much warning as possible. Because with the developments of science and technology, there are portions which have to be taken into consideration for the best possible outcome. So then there was a situation in Irving, Texas, which was in 2011, which was after some additional situations to what many had not believed at the time. So right now, at 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 58 seconds, unedited, unfiltered, all that, recording in one stop. Several years before, I don't know the math, in 2006 or 2007, I got to read apparently the original Big Blue Book or Blue Book Project, unredacted, with pictures, the original pictures, the lodge at Madrona prior to moving situation. Though I had a fireplace that I knew was properly maintained in comparison to the apartment complex at that point in time, did not feel that it would be a good idea to. However, that fireplace would have been great this past winter time with that cold snow that came in shortly after, the first time going back to New Jersey by myself. Bethlehem Star sort of thing, astrological constellation stuff. Just saying. It is cold. So cold. Nonetheless, yeah, that whole yeah, unredacted, I got to read that. And I'm CDO, though it's called OCD. You can do the proverbial metaphorical math. So yeah, yeah. So isn't it funny how the different architecture, right? And so there's the broken piece. I want you to remember that I showed you that in the video. Okay? With the crown pieces, right? Because I don't know if you've been able to see that. There are crown pieces in between when walking, right? Okay? Look, I show you. Okay? So I'm gonna switch chairs. You can look at the video number. Whatever. Alright. So now, Paul Hewitt McMill Lee, or McMill II, and elk, the Greek letters, Republican, May 19th, 1886, irony of my biological sister's year of birth compared to mine in 1980. August 20, irony, you switch the 6 to a 9 and you've got, that, and irony. Again, that kind of looks like a pedestal if you were to turn it upside down, and then the irony in regards to the number 26 compared to 29. And then the double, and then the Hebrew star, and the Star of Bethlehem. And a looking glass monocle. Because apparently I'm the only one who could do this. I'm I'm just saying. Oh, it's so cold. Oh. And then the solar eclipse in 2017 in Nebraska. Oh, hold on. I gotta show you this. That's so pretty. Look how it lit up. Look, it's so pretty. Look at the colors with the sunlight. Look, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Look, it's so pretty. Look, so pretty. It's so shiny and glitter. Look, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Look. Look. Look how pretty. I'm just saying it's so pretty. Look. Look. Oh, I think that, no, I did that. Oh, I got one. Look. Look. How funny. Look. What's up? Look. I'm just saying. Look. I did it by myself. Woo. Oh. Then there's that. It's so pretty. Ooh. So yeah. Then with nobody believing me at the time, about so many other things, I cannot tell a lie. I had to do tattoos to be able to remember things. I started getting the hand tattoo.
I'm sure that the back side of the camera is probably recording at the same time as this camera because of the way modern technology is. So, I'm glad I got to see the views, the different times. But it's still nice to take a look around every now and then, just to see. However, with my memory issues, that also being a situation, I suppose it was ironically ideal, almost a paradoxical sort of aspect to the fact that there is a General Hoyt S. Vandenberg who had been a part of the Blue Project, I guess is what it's called. I apparently read the Big Blue Book before it became the Blue Book Project. Got to see photos. I guess in certain regards, I'm glad I got to see those photos. It's kind of paradoxical in that regard of I was prepared in certain regards, especially when it came to Irving. Yeah. In regards to Irving, what I wrote about, I did not discuss because of so many people not having believed me at the time. And about so many other things because of the magnitude of what I had gone through and survived and dealt with. And so what I had discussed were the prettier-ish things in regards to what I... And so, yeah. So, Irving, the whole, like, being on the back patio and it being clear night, and then there was a circular object that came out of the sky, and it was very creepy. And so I did not know what to do to explain to anybody, and I did not. And I guess the fact of certain things in regards to military, the United States of America's Armed Forces, the studies that I had done prior, because of knowing in regards to certain things,
or people didn't necessarily want to listen to my warnings. I hope that this particular video at 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 55 seconds and going on assists, because yeah, and there are people walking up, so I'm gonna end this particular broadcast, I guess is the way to put it. And yeah, this is real. Hi. Yeah, need to get to discuss stuff about that progression, because of going and doing spatial aspects of exploration, so that way there's preparation, because it is not the same as your video games. It is not the same as your pop culture or what have you. Not all of them are exactly the same. There are some that are switched and flipped because of the ability to change certain paths. So keep that in mind, especially when it comes to the further advancements of science and technology, because there are the short-term, the long-term, and the longest-term effects. And you want to do things in the proper way, I would guesstimate would be the best possible outcome. So yeah. But at this point in time, on the 16th of August in 2021, at the Afterglow Mausoleum in Rosh Harbor, after taking the ferry to Friday Harbor in Washington State, within the United States of America, I, Susan MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, needed to worry about. I've been known by Red, obviously. The birdies are giggling along with. I can joke, I guess. But yeah, you guys have a good one. I'm gonna do one last camera span around, because it is pretty. It is beautiful out here. Gotta admit that. So I'll start at the table. I am so glad I'm sitting down right now, because I'm so dizzy. I'm so glad I'm sitting down right now.
I'm so dizzy. I'm so dizzy. I'm so dizzy right now. I'm so glad I'm sitting down right now. Oh, I'm so glad I'm sitting down right now. Oh, 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 I am so dizzy. Oh, I'm so dizzy right now. I am so dizzy. Oh, I'm so dizzy. Ooh. Oh, it's cold. Oh, I'm dizzy. I was just saying, it's cold. So yeah, yeah. So now remember, okay. So I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way, right? See, look. What did I say earlier? Look like. Now hold on, ready. Hold on. You ready? Ready. Oh, oh, snap. Wait. Come on, that's funny. Look, it's so pretty. Look. Hold on. Ready. Hold on. Ready. Ooh. Wait. I know it's so childish, but look. It's still pretty. Look, so pretty. Oop. Look. So pretty. Oh. Peekaboo. Oh. Look what I can do. Isn't that really cool? Look. Oh. Hi. Hi. So yeah, 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 54 seconds.
You're not taking me, right? Did I inside your picture?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want it. Can you delete that? You can take this, but not me.
Okay, well, this is a public place.
Yeah, but
And you're wearing a mask, and I was doing you saw that I was recording, and so I'm just doing, I'm not very,
I know it's a public place, but if I was there, then you have to let me know. But, you know, is
there's,
it possible for you to delete that? I appreciate that.
I don't know how to delete that.
What?
I don't know how to delete that. I'm doing a live thing.
Oh, you have to let me know because, you know, kind of like, I don't know whether you...
I literally was videotaping, and you saw me doing the camera stuff when you were walking up.
Yeah, but...
And you just admitted yes, so...
But you cannot point it to me.
Okay, I didn't point it to you. I did a spanning camera. And so, like, it's not that big of a deal because you have to take a ferry to get out to this public place. And there are cameras everywhere anyway.
I
Not forgetting
understand.
the satellites in the sky that orbit and can see right down. I mean, it's literally open above here right now.
I understand.
And
but,
you're
you know,
carrying, and so, like, can I just finish what I'm doing? Because I was doing something before you showed up. You literally saw me sitting in the chairs with the camera going and talking to the camera. So it's not like you did not see that or hear that. So if you could just let me finish what I'm doing, because you literally know that this is a cemetery area, which is considered sacred ground. And so you saw me and heard me doing what I was doing, and you chose to walk up the stairs as you heard me speaking to the camera. So if you could actually back off and let me finish, I'm almost done. I do not mean to be rude, but you literally intruded on what I was doing in a sacred location.
I guess, you know, we are talking. I'm not blaming, but, you know, it's kind of like something that if people are considerate, then we do that.
Yeah,
But
and if you were
say-
considerate, you would see the fact that I was up here and was in here in this space before you walked into it. So if you could actually, so then can you please take a step out of the circle so that way I can finish and do what I am doing, because you are literally intruding.
I know. You
So
know,
please
probably.
take a step out of the circle so I can finish.
Yeah, probably. You know, maybe it's my mistake that I
Yes, then
I didn't
please
say,
just...
oh, okay.
Then can you please stop, take a step outside so I can finish?
I think I can walk, you know, behind that. Then, you know, why should I?
Because I am literally in a sacred location and you are intruding. You just complained about the fact that I am doing the videoing. I am not done yet.
Okay. I'll let you finish, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, kind
Just,
of like...
I will be done. The sooner you leave is the sooner I can
how long
finish.
will you take then? You know, I'll come back.
About 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll let you do that. So,
Thank
you know,
you.
I want to compromise. I don't want
So
to be...
there is the compromise.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Hello, I'm doing a video.
Okay.
Thank you. So, isn't it irony that the lighting almost looks like an eye
or a cat's eye stone with the stone column. I do apologize for if I came across rude. I was just standing my ground as respectfully as I possibly could in a public location. And as the time shows, and the fact there are those who have heard my voice, I did not raise it technically. I do not think. I just needed to be stern. Get it? Scuba diving? The Vandenberg? The big blue book? Everybody has whites in their eyes, and then I got red hair. A blue nose. And you can see the colors above the water compared to where I was at the USS Voigt S. Vandenberg ship that was sunk outside of the Florida Keys in Florida. When I went there in August of 2009, 16th of April 2021 today. Hello, hi. So, gonna upload this video. Yeah. You guys have a good one. Brightest of Blessings. And yeah. Oh yeah, and this is the Afterglow Mausoleum area in Washington State, San Juan Islands. I am Susan MeeLing. Thank you for subscribing and all that sort of stuff. Go to my website, www.susanmeeling.com, and I hope you have a great day.